great way to get visible and share all the awesomeness that I'm about to find out about the amazing Samita. So Samita is the owner and founder of Deidaa. Hi, Samita. How are you going today?
I'm well, thank you, Kylie. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for joining me and chatting with me about your business. So let's get stuck straight in, because I've got some questions for you. And I know there's lots of people waiting to hear all about you, because my goodness, it's awesome following you on socials and seeing the incredible things you're doing. So first of all, Samita, I'd love it if you tell us what your business is and how you help people.
Yeah, so we are about eco gifts, and currently what we are focusing on, and I have been doing this since a long time, but right now I'm totally focused on working with the 3 R's. It's not really 3 R's anymore. I actually say there are 4 R's. So it's like, first of all, it's refuse, then it's reduce, reuse, and recycle. So basically what we are trying to do is we are trying to circulate like waste. So as you know, Kylie, we manufacture a lot for different clients, and we are left with things like offcuts, shreds of fabric. And instead of all of that ending up in landfill, so we are trying to circulate it. We are trying to channelize all of these into new products, new eco gifts. And then we are using things like recycled plastic from the PET bottles, which are the worst offenders. So if you see that little bunny, they are right behind me. So it's completely made out of waste. So I am always about sustainability. In fact, I've been declared a kind of a sustainability champion by the National Retail Awards Association. This year, I was the finalist. But what we are really focusing on now, we've gone one step ahead, and we are trying to promote and sustain a circular economy. So, plastic doesn't go away. It stays with us for 200 years. So let's, go all out and use and reuse plastic for the next 200 years till, it's ready to kind of disintegrate, like fade away. So that's what we are focusing on right now.
Fantastic. So I know you've got quite an extensive range of products that you produce, from clothing to toys to, all kinds of stuff. I've got some of your amazing products. Particularly, I love your farmer's market bag. I just think that's the cleverest design. Yeah, I really, really love it. It's amazing. I mean, I love all your stuff, but that's an amazingly clever design of a bag. And also some of your beautiful soft toys. And so I just think that's amazing. I didn't realize that the inside of that is also upcycled plastic.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
It's just PET bottles, things that would, PET bottles happen to be one of the worst offenders. So, if you take a walk, any of Australia's 12,000 beaches, you'll find a few of those PET bottles. So those kind of things, we reprocess them and reuse them. So that's something we are focusing. We are very passionate about circulating waste.
Brilliant, Samita. Well done. And well done on that award. And I know there's some other awards that you can
thank you
about in a moment too. Yeah. So tell us how you got into business in the first place, and how long have you been going?
I think I was born into this, but no, if looking back, I have been in Australasia since last 20 years now, and I started my business in when I was in India, I was already an entrepreneur, and then I moved to New Zealand, and I started my business in New Zealand around 2002, and then the Australian company we launched in 2008. So if you take into account the years I spent in business in India, I think it's over almost 25 years now. So that's how I got into business. I did the usual, I did pivot from things like, politics and economics. I went into something creative. I studied fashion design. I worked for a couple of leading exporters and fashion houses. And then I thought I wouldn't be able to, I couldn't cope with assembly line production. I saw it firsthand, what it was doing to people. And then I realized that I had to work with the crafts, the artisan communities. And that's when I created my own label. And it's been a David and Goliath battle, but I'm getting there. Now people are kind of, they are coming up to me and saying, Samita, we've heard about you. We've heard about Deidaa. We love what you are doing. So that's music to my ears.
Absolutely. So what do you think started this passion for doing it with such an incredibly environmental ethos behind it all?
Yeah, I think for me, it's like when I talk sustainability, it is the environment, of course, and it's also the communities. So as I mentioned, when I was working in these factories, large scale assembly line production, and I saw it's such a dehumanizing experience. So if you're sewing buttons on, say, 10,000 shirts from morning till evening, it's completely destroying you, destroying the human in you. So when I was, and environment and community, they go hand in hand. So that's when I realized that I had to do something about the humans, and it was kind of intertwined with the environment. You cannot have one without the other. So that's when my passion for sustainability, for environment, and for artisan crafts, for handmade, that's when my love for all of these started happening, and it's kind of continued ever since.
Beautiful. So can you tell us a little bit about your factory in India?
Yeah, it's completely sustainable. So, I mean, I have a small team, and it's people ask me, you had an interesting question earlier, and you asked me that, what is it that people may not know about you. So people may not know, they know about Deidaa, they know that I'm an eco gifts company, but they also may not know that I also promote the cause of sustainability and everything that comes with it. So my factory is, first of all, it's completely ethical. So it's got SEDEX certification. See, because without certification, none of these things mean anything. And SEDEX is like a third-party audit. It's globally validated. So our premises, our factories are completely SEDEX certified. The other thing is, whatever, when we say organic, we mean organic. So again, organic textiles that we use, they are GOTS certified. GOTS again is a global textile authorization and validation company. And if you do not have GOTS certification, honestly, you cannot even verify if it's organic or non-organic. So, if you say organic, you must have GOTS validation. And that's what we have in our factories back in India. It's completely ethical. It's certified organic. And plus, we are also manufacturing now in Melbourne. I mean, we are working with a group of with a migrant community. So wherever possible and whenever possible, we are doing production in Australia as well.
It's just amazing what you're doing and what you continue to keep striving for, which blows my mind. So can you tell me, or tell everybody listening, so if people were, because I know you're doing a massive range yourself in your own line, obviously you're a designer and you produce beautiful things. So, but also you have this other side to your business, which is that you organize the manufacturing of other people's designs. So how does that work? Like if someone listening wanted to get in touch with you because they had an idea for a clothing range, or what other things is there that people could approach you about?
Yeah, I do manufacture for several clients in Australia and New Zealand. So you have to come to me with, you may just have a concept, or you may have a completely thoroughly worked out tech pack. So I work with startups, young designers, and I also work with some of the major players in the Australasian market. So it really depends on what you want out of me. What I like is a clear brief. You have to tell me what is it that you want. Do you want me to develop things right from the scratch? We can do that for you, because I mean, we call it the ODM or the OEM. So you have everything ready and then you come to me. That's one option. or you just come to me with an idea and tell me, Samita, can you work this out for me? So I am open to that also. I have been an academic since last 10 years, and I gave it up only in 2017 because of work pressure. And I'm used to working with youngsters, students, startups. So if you just come to me with a concept, I'm open to that. So just touch base with me, you know.
And one of the things that I love that you're able to do is do much smaller runs. So if people are looking at going offshore, for starters, they know that they're doing it, you know, in a really ethical way with you, but also it doesn't have to be 10,000 of one dress or something, you know, that you've.
No, we need, if we are doing it offshore in our factory, I only work out of my own two production facilities. One is in Melbourne, Australia. The other one is in India. And, you know, you don't have to have enormous quantities, but we need a certain quantity MOQ for the offshore production, but we can also organize production in Melbourne, Australia. Of course, the prices might be different, but we have both, you know, both offshore and onshore options available to you.
Just wonderful, Samita, amazing. So we talked before about something interesting that about yourself that most people don't know. Is there something else that's a little sneaky thing behind the scenes that nobody else knows about that you want to share?
Yeah, the first of all, how I, you know, everyone's talking about pivoting right now, you know, given the current scenario, pandemic, etc. But I pivoted long back when I realized that I was cut out for only doing something creative. So from a kind of a very conventional career in politics and economics, I switched to something creative. I studied to be a fashion designer. So that's something not many people know about me. So I pivoted long back. I mean, I didn't wait for pandemic to happen, because I believe that if you like something, if you are passionate about something, you know, you don't work for a day. So I had to do something that would, you know, keep my creative juices flowing. And then that's why I can work like 24/7. You've seen I work, I know you, if you ask me something at 10 o'clock and someone was actually having a mini conversation, this girl is writing a, you know, it's a news blast about Deidaa and a migrant entrepreneur. She was talking to me at 10 o'clock at night, and I was replying to her questions. And she said, Samita, do you work like round the clock? And I said, yes, I love what I do. So I'm always working, and it's not work for me. You know, I actually don't work a single day. I like it so much. So that's something. Yeah.
It's wonderful. I can't think off the top of my head who it is that said this famous quote, but I love it, which is that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life.
Yeah.
So I'll find who said that and put it in the caption for later on.
Absolutely.
So it's so true.
I'm pretty sure this was actually put to an Indian industrialist, a very top-notch industrialist, and they asked him, what do you do for relaxation? What is your hobby? And he said, no, my work is my relaxation. So it's pretty much the same with me, you know. So, and the other thing, as I mentioned, Kylie, that I also, I write, I'm a published author. I talk on platforms like TCFWA, which is the textile clothing and footwear, Western Australia. I have my own YouTube channel about Learn with Samita, about art and crafts, about fashion design, sustainability. So that's going well, but now because of the lockdown restrictions, we are a little restricted. But you know, I do all of that also, other than Deidaa.
Wonderful. So we'll share all of that in the posts, because it'd be great for people listening to be able to go and find your YouTube channel and listen up on some stuff or watch some stuff. So thank you. So where do you get your inspiration from to design or create what you do?
That's a question I've been asked many times, and I'm pretty sure even other designers, you know, because see, you can get inspiration from everything. I'm not saying this. Again, this is not my quote. It's Paul Smith who said that you can find inspiration in everything. And if you are not finding that inspiration, you're not looking properly. So it just strikes me, you know, I mean, it's an instinct, and an instinct that comes with working in fashion, working in creative industries since a very long time. And my students used to ask me, so Samita, how do we go about designing or startups? Many people ask me, Samita, where do you get your ideas from? How do you know this would be right, this would not be right, this would sell, this wouldn't sell? So Kylie, what you need to do is you need to open your third eye. The Hindu god Shiva, the god with the dreadlocks. So he has a third eye. So what is the third eye? Third eye is your inner eye. Okay, so you have to open that. If you are in a creative industry, you have to open your third eye. You have to see beyond what's obvious. So, you have to think outside the square. So maybe someone sees just a flower. I just see the color or I see the shape. So pretty much you can get inspired by anything and everything, and it can happen anywhere and everywhere. That's why we always tell our students that carry a little, a tear sheet or a little, sketch pad or something like that with you. I mean, I have drawn sketches on the back of the train tickets and bus tickets and things like that, because at that moment that inspiration has just, it's something has struck me and I need to put it on paper, otherwise I'd lose it.
That's some wonderful advice right there, is just being ready for inspiration to strike at any time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful, Samita.
At times it keeps you awake at nights. I get all my bright ideas 3 o'clock in the morning. It happened yesterday. Last night I was wide awake. So I think it happens to all of us a little bit.
I love it. So what would you tell other women who are just starting out in business? What would you like them to know that you wish that you'd known back when you started?
Yeah, the thing is that I see this a lot. I mean, do not have a very good reason to start a business. If you've been made redundant because given the current context of pandemic that's been happening since last 18 months, people have been made redundant, or if you do not have a job, that's not a good reason to start a business, so that's something people, and that's where they make the mistake. Like they would, okay, I don't have a job, so I'll start something on my own and I'll conquer the world. It doesn't happen like that. Business has to be based on very thorough research and analysis and a very solid resolved business plan. You have to research you might have a wonderful idea, but you have to research the market. Is the market ready for you? You have to research the competitors. So there's something which I hear very often is that I'll start a t-shirt business. When we used to ask so many of startups or people thinking about business, so what would you do? I'll start a t-shirt business. How many billions of t-shirt makers are there in this world? So you have to do all of that, and remember your business plan is a live document. So people at times say, oh yeah, when I've started my business, I did a business plan. But do you go back to your business plan? Do you refer back to your business plan? So if you have done some kind of goal setting, if you've set some goals, do you revisit those goals maybe every 6 months or so and assess, have you achieved something? And if you haven't achieved a particular milestone or a goal, so what's the reason? What's the reason for you not being able to attain what you'd planned for? So, think very hard. I'm not saying no. I mean, of course, there are several businesses which have started with a good idea, but it's, the best of ideas should also be implemented properly. So that's my 2 cents worth.
That's some great advice there, and really getting into the nitty gritty of one thing that you said that I just loved is the world ready for your idea? And both you and I, as you know, I used to be in e-commerce and designing kids eco toys and decor, etc. And something that you said before, much earlier on in our chat, was how things are changing now for you with all your environmental aspect and stuff. So I know when I first was doing my business, say, well, I think maybe 12 years ago was when I started that, is that going with that fair trade and that, eco-conscious ethos, etc., was a hard battle. It really, really was. People didn't really understand the need for it.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that there, a lot of people did, but certainly wasn't very mainstream. Whereas you go to somewhere like even any kind of big box department store or, chain store, and you will see that they have some fair trade and some organic this and some bamboo that, etc. So clearly it's becoming much, much, much more mainstream. And a lot of people are demanding it now, which is...
And asking questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Who made it? How was it made? And what are the conditions of the people that were working on it?
And I'm loving it, because this is a battle I have fought since a very long time, Kylie. What you said is, when I used to take my, my vegan silk or my tussars and my handcrafted little things, and they'd say, oh, tussar, no, it crumples easily, natural fabric, not easy to maintain. So everything was about plastic, fantastic. So, and then everything was about shiny plastic toys and things like that. But gradually, I think people are coming around. As you mentioned, they are demanding to know, they are asking questions, and it's about having a conversation. You cannot just say, oh yeah, go and buy this. People want the stories, they want to know about what you are doing, how you're doing it, who are the people who are working for you or working with you. So all of that is like music to my ears.
Absolutely. When I had my manufacturing business and I first met you, because we were next door to each other at a trade show in Melbourne, which was such a wonderful thing to happen for me. And then you'd said, had you thought about making these offshore? Because as you know, I had Australian sewers and manufacturing at that point. And I said no. And I couldn't go offshore because I couldn't ever sleep at night knowing that someone was making something for me and they were sleeping beside their sewing machines, living a life that is not something that you'd wish on anybody. And you said, oh, but I have a factory in India and we don't do things that way. And it started my journey into this wonderful, wonderful thing about going offshore, but for all the right reasons, and doing it, to be helping communities. And
absolutely,
it was such a wonderful journey to do that with you. So I will always be grateful for that, Samita.
Thank you. It was my pleasure. And you've been a lovely, and you had unique ideas. I loved, the things that you created, or they were so. I still have two boys who used to just make those balloon balls for me and for you. So it's your idea, and that's why I always talk about certification. Just see that wherever you may be working with anyone, but just make sure that they are properly validated, they are properly certified, and they are doing things in a correct manner, and not, you hear absolute horror stories where I wouldn't want to, workers are chained to their workstations. They have to, it's becoming a little dark, but they are made to wear incontinence pads so that they do not have to take toilet breaks. So that doesn't happen in my factory. Yeah.
Wow, I hadn't heard that before, Samita. That is a
no. I was almost hesitating, but this is something I have heard. And it doesn't always happen in developing countries. It happens in the developed countries as well. So
I'm so glad that you shared that, because when you start researching this and going down the YouTube channel, finding out what goes on out there in manufacturing, it would just blow people's minds. And
there are some
very distressing when I first
some very good documentaries, Kylie, working with prisoners. It's it's just opening up a can of worms.
Yeah, so then what we could do is put a challenge out there to people listening and watching to go and do some research into it and look at.
I can give you a few names, some documentaries which are like eye openers. Yeah.
Great. Maybe we can share those in the comments. That would be great. Thanks, Samita. So my final question not before my final question of the night, I want to ask you about your awards, because of late I know that you've there's been some more exciting things happening for you there. So do you want to share with us about what that was all about?
I was a finalist in the Osmompreneur 2020 in 3 categories. So multicultural business, fashion, and sustainability. I got my silver trophy in sustainability. I was a finalist in the National Retail Awards, which actually blew me away, because who my co-finalists were, like Harry Scarf and MacPack, and I lost out to MacPack.
Wow.
I was like, I saw Harry Scarf and MacPack, and they're like probably multi-million-dollar businesses, and here's little me, Samita. And I didn't get the final award, obviously, because they were better people, and I was a finalist in the sustainability category at the Mompreneur 2021 awards. I did get nominated for one or two other awards, but I just couldn't cope with, like, didn't have the time to fill out the forms, but maybe I do so next year. And yeah, well, so I've been fairly, I mean, it's just getting acknowledged, I feel it's a kind of a validation of the work that you've been doing since such a long time. Feels good. And that's where people came up to me and said, oh, we've been hearing about you. We've been hearing about your good work. I got a beautiful letter from National Retail Awards that, Samita, you lost out because, you had such formidable kind of competitors. And I said, that's all right. The fact that I was a finalist was good enough for me. So yes, it's a validation, Kylie, of the work. And as you mentioned, I have been fighting this battle since a very long time.
Yes, well, good on you. That is just fantastic. So we've reached our time frame. Unfortunately, I could honestly speak to you forever.
No, so could I.
I love the topics that we have in common, and we're both so very passionate about that side of things. But what's a top tip that you can share about being a woman in business for other women already in business?
Well, many of us have wonderful ideas. We all think we are like, we have brilliant ideas, and we have an action plan, which is no one has done it before. But you know what? I mean, the key to success in business, I think, is perseverance. So as I mentioned earlier, best of plans, best product ideas, best strategies come to nothing if they are not applied properly. So, and we also have to keep in mind that Rome wasn't built in a day, so if you start your business, you might not see the results. Nothing might happen in a day or a week or a month. So the key to success is perseverance. Work hard, work consistently, and have an open mind, be open to learning, be open to new ideas. And Kylie, may I quote another person here, Steve Jobs, who said that stay hungry, stay foolish. So that's that's a great learning from someone like Steve Jobs. So the idea is that, never say no to learning. You do not stop learning. And the moment you feel that you know everything, you've learned everything, you're on top of the world, that's the beginning of the end. So
I couldn't agree more. I totally resonate with everything you just said. And yes, keeping our eyes open, and as you said, your third eye, looking at what we're doing, thinking about who we're doing it for, how we're doing it, and making sure that we're staying focused on our goal, having an evolving business plan that we keep looking at.
Absolutely. And are you solving a problem? What is it, your idea? Does it solve a problem? Does it address something which hasn't been addressed before? So those are the kind of things that you should be. And as I said, be humble. There are many people doing good work. Learn from them.
Absolutely. Well, I just love that, Samita. Thank you so much. So everybody, thank you for being with us and listening. So this is Samita from Deidaa. You can find her. We'll put all the details into the caption, and then also the documentaries that Samita was talking about. When I get those links from her, I'll share those as well. So I'm Kylie Mowbray-Allen from Hello Media, and I'm the founder of Positive Passionate Businesswomen. That's just all about connecting women so that we can collaborate and support each other and lift each other up, because it's all about collaborating way more than it's about competition. So thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for your time, Samita. It's been just wonderful to chat with you, and I always learn something new. So I'm going to take that away with me tonight and process all of that and some new ideas. So thank you very much. It was just wonderful.
Thank you, Kylie. It's always good to touch base with you and connect with you. You are my client, then my mentor and friend, and it's always good to be able to have a conversation with you. Thank
Wonderful.
you. Bye
I
for
couldn't
now.
agree more. Thank you so much. All right, I look forward to our next chat, Samita. Thank you, and thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thanks, Marlin, Honey, everyone who's listening to this podcast.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye.